Good afternoon. Alice and I are back to read another chapter of A Girl, a Raccoon, and the Midnight Moon, with pictures by Jessixa Bagley, published by Chronicle Kids in 2020, and with the assistance of a big mug of water, because it's really polleny out today, and my voice is a little scratchy. Chapter 39, The Reading Raccoons. A sidebar about uniforms. Uniforms make everyone look the same. If people all look alike, you can't be singled out, so you're less likely to get hurt. Uniforms give you something to wear that isn't your own, so people can't judge you by your own clothes. Fur, for a raccoon, is its own uniform. As far as humans are concerned, we all look the same. This doesn't mean that there is not occasionally an item of clothing that I would like to have. For example, Tallulah's soft velvet hat with sewn-on sequins the color of a raspberry. There's nothing I would like more, or so I thought, until I saw the Reading Raccoon caps. They are a kind of uniform, but different. They are not so much like the school uniform, clothes that smooth out the differences in privilege between students. The Reading Raccoon caps made everyone who wore them part of something, part of a neighborhood known for readers. Now that humans wanted to wear those caps, somehow we, the humans and the raccoons together, we were all on the same team. At first, when Pearl started this whole campaign, I was afraid people would come looking for us. Instead, this strange thing started to happen. People started to consider themselves one of us. One afternoon, there was a small package on the basement stairs. 3 miniature yellow caps, small, medium, and large, with ear holes cut out. You might think they were from Pearl. You might think they were from Francine or her granny. You'd be wrong. They were from Khadijah. I don't know if I believe you about your little raccoon friends, she told Pearl. I just couldn't resist making miniature hats. As for me, I couldn't resist wearing one. By M.A.M. All these kids here getting reading racks from the racks are going to make it very bad public relations for the mayor to recommend against the library, said Alice to Mr. Bull and Mr. Dozer. Like everyone in the library, Alice had been reading the copies of the Midnight Moon that the raccoons left in the reading room each night. Now Alice did a very simple thing. She scanned each rack's Rex column and sent it to 2 places. 1 to Jonathan Yoicks via email, and 2 to the school via a printout delivered by Pearl for Ms. Judge to copy and hand out. Pearl's mom made a plan to borrow copies of the recommended books from other branches in order to have extras on their shelves to meet the new demand, and Dinesh, Alice's husband, promised to drive around and pick up the books. Alice was tired just thinking about everything. It was a month from her due date, and she'd had it with being pregnant, had it with the tension of not knowing what was going to happen with the library building, the neighborhood, her job. You make us sound like vultures, Mr. Dozer told Alice. Aren't you vultures? Asked Alice. What do you know about vultures? Asked Mr. Bull. They hang around when something's going to die and they eat it, sometimes even before it's dead, Pearl said. What if there weren't vultures? Asked Mr. Bull. We'd all be knee-deep in corpses. This library is not a corpse, said Mom. Neither are the buildings we repurpose, said Mr. Dozer. Simon entered then, carrying a big box. Package for you, Pearl, said Mom. The return address on the box was Gully's Buckaby. Pearl took a deep breath and pulled the tape off the box. A case of yellow baseball caps, and beneath it, a box containing 12 dozen black Halloween eye masks. What are those for? Asked Simon. Without a glance at Mr. Bull and Mr. Dozer, Pearl said, They're to save the spiral stairs. Later last night, in Granny's studio, after they'd finished their construction of the raccoon world, Francine and Pearl had moved on to their next project, the baseball caps. They'd argued about what to write across the bill of the cap. Francine wanted the whole thing spelled out, but I'm a reading raccoon was too much to write legibly, and reading wasn't much of a message. They settled on What if they don't know what it means? Francine said. Then they'll ask, said Pearl, and I'll say the 2 R's stand for reading raccoons. Francine said, and they'll say, what are reading raccoons? And then we'll tell them, said Pearl. That was the plan. Even Gully was in on it, and by the end of the night, they'd made more than 100 reading raccoon caps. They wore the hats to school. When kids said, where'd you get the cool hat? Pearl and her friends just said, Gully's buck-a-bye. He was selling them on special for $2, the only thing in his store that cost more than $1. Twice a buck, twice the luck, said Gully to the kids who shopped for caps. For the moment, he wasn't anybody's enemy. Soon enough, kids in the other grades were after them too. Even Ms. Judge herself asked for one, and Pearl made hers a special pale pink so she would stand out from the crowd. After a few days, Bruce told Mom she was going to have to relax the no hats in the library rule, or they'd have to buy some more coat racks. Meanwhile, Mom, Alice, and Ramon were churning out library cards to meet the demand of Ms. Judge's giant pile of applications. Pearl's plan was working. As kids stopped by with their parents to get their library cards, sign the register, and take the oath, they couldn't help buying a cap across the street. When Jonathan Yoicks heard that profits from the caps were going to support fixing the spiral staircase, he bought 2. He put one on his head and carried the second one out the front door, down the driveway, and into the garden, then took a run up to the statue and hooked the cap over Vincent's beckoning left hand. The bright yellow cap hung there like an autumn leaf on a tree, the bandit mask glimmering on top. The effect was oddly festive. It was all a strange double scenario. In the best case, the library was bustling, full, getting ready for a party. In the worst case, the party would be a last gasp. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.